right, so next, our next speaker is Luis, who will be talking to us about a collaborative approach that challenges fin whale migration assumptions off of South America. So Luis, whenever you're ready, please go ahead.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm Luis Bedriñana from Copas Coastal, Universidad Austral de Chile, and Blue Whale Center in southern Chile. I'm going to start saying that we live in times where uh, we have a lot of toys to play with baleen whales. We have these cool tags that allow us to follow them for several months to inspect their migratory patterns. We have these other fine scale tags that allow us to describe their diving profiles in very detailed manner. And they also have cameras that allow us to see what whales see, how they feed. We have acoustic gizmos that allow us to detect their acoustic signals across several parts of the ocean, even gliders that can detect their songs and simultaneously sampling for oceanographic data. We have vessel tracks, the good old-fashioned vessel tracks that allow us to inspect the distribution patterns visually. So what we did in this work is what can we learn about fin whale migratory pattern if we put all our toys together, all our data together and try to learn more? What we knew about fin whales is that they migrate from the Southern Ocean where they feed in summer to some place in subtropical areas. So if we start by seeing what we can learn by pulling all the visual surveys together, is that here you can see in green are the navigation track from the vessels, and in yellow you can see fin whale sightings. Immediately you can depict that in the Humboldt Current ecosystem, which is the part of Chilean coast, there are a lot of sightings. They are present during the entire year. And in the coast of Brazil, in Rio de Janeiro, where a lot of vessel effort have been conducted, there's also a concentration of sightings. The difference is that in Rio de Janeiro, they are only present during winter. So just by seeing these two patterns, we can see that at least for the Atlantic part, this agrees with the classic migratory pattern, but in the Humboldt Current ecosystem, this does not agree with the classical migratory view. They are permanently there. They are the most abundant baleen species in the Humboldt Current ecosystem, and they are pretty much everywhere. And in the other areas, like in the Argentinian platform or even in Chilean Patagonia, you can see that sightings are very scarce, except for this area which is the Namuncara Bullwood Bank, which is a marine protected area from Argentina, where there are recent sightings there. Now let's move to what the acoustic data says. Now we have a lot of information here, but let's concentrate on one thing. In the x-axis, you can see the months of the year, and if the bar is pink, it means that the acoustic presence of fin whales is there, and if you see a light blue, it means there are no acoustic detections. So here, this agrees with our visual service data, because in the Antofagasta and Chañaral and Juan Fernandez station, which are in the Humboldt Current ecosystem, acoustic detection occur during the entire year. In Rio de Janeiro, they are detected mainly in winter and austral spring, again in accordance with the classical migratory patterns of this whale. And in Puñihuil, which is this blue dot in northern Patagonia, you can see they are only present during winter, which it's gonna make much more sense in the next slides. So again, we have data that supports a classical migratory movement and data that says that at least a part of the population does not migrate. And this is how we come to this novel part of the telemetry data. We tag our whales in the marine protected area Humboldt Archipelago, which is a really small red dot over here. And here we can see that most of our whales spend most of their time in the Humboldt Current ecosystem. And the few whales that have been tagged in Brazil start migrating to some place because the tags stop transmitting during winter, which again agrees with classic migratory patterns. Now, let's focus on this particular guy that we tag in General de Aceituno in the northern part. You can see in the animation. Every time the whale track turns red, it means it might be eating, and in blue, it's transiting. And these guys spend most of the time in winter and autumn and summer in Humboldt Current ecosystem, then move to the Namuncurá Bulbul Bank. And if you see a flying dot, it's not evidence of alien abduction. It's just that the whale tag stopped transmitting. And this is very interesting for several reasons. First, this whale start migrating in winter from a mid-latitude area to a high-latitude area. And this is the first description of a inverted migration, if you might say, because as you know, whales are supposed to migrate in the other direction. They are supposed to move to low latitude during winter, after winter. And this guy did the exact opposite. And it's also the first description and the round trip migration of fin whale in the entire southern hemisphere. So this was very interesting. And the other thing that is important is that this guy moved from one marine protected area to another marine protected area. And this give value to, to marine protected areas. So to sum up, we have evidence of the existence of multiple migratory strategies for fin whales, which is in accordance to what had been recorded in other populations in Northern Hemisphere. We have the first description of an inverted migration, which is novel for all whales, as far as we know. And the importance of migrating from one MPA to another one is very important because this is why we create marine protected areas, not just for several ecosystem processes and species, is because they have secrets that we don't know when we create them. And this is very important. And finally, I think in times where science is pretty much under threat and budgets are being cut and people are like skeptic about climate change and stuff like that, collaboration is key. Even when this is always important, collaborating is now perhaps more important than ever, especially in developing countries. Uh, a work like the one that I have presented to you right now that covers vast parts of the ocean in an entire continent is only possible if we collaborate to each other. So that being said, thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Luis. That was super interesting. Really fascinating case study of working out across borders, across geopolitical borders with multiple methods. I think there's lots to learn there from that work. Thank you so much.